Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the story of a coin that's captured the attention of collectors and history buffs alike, the 1971 Eisenhower Dollar. If you think it's just another old coin sitting around in your collection or at the back of your drawer, think again. This coin has quite a fascinating history and some rare qualities that could make it worth a whole lot of money. In fact, some 1971 Eisenhower dollars are worth thousands of dollars today, especially if they have certain errors or are in pristine condition. So, let's take a deep dive into the story of this coin, how to identify its value, and what makes it so special. The 1971 Eisenhower Dollar was first minted by the United States Mint, and it has a strong connection to two key moments in American history: the presidency of Dwight D. Eisenhower and the United States victory in the space race with the Apollo 11 moon landing. President Eisenhower passed away in 1969, and there was a desire to honor his legacy by featuring his image on U.S. currency. But there was another reason for the coin's creation. It was also designed to commemorate the moon landing that had taken place just a few years earlier. In 1969, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to walk on the moon, and this coin was meant to celebrate that monumental achievement. It was a symbol of American pride and progress, and that's why it's remembered so fondly today. When you look at the coin, the first thing you'll notice is the image of President Dwight D. Eisenhower on the front, or the obverse side, of the coin. The design is a classic portrait of the late president, looking serious and dignified. Surrounding Eisenhower's face are the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the year, 1971. The back, or reverse side, of the coin is equally interesting. It features an eagle symbolizing strength and freedom holding an olive branch in one talon and a bundle of arrows in the other. The eagle is landing on the moon, which was a clear nod to the Apollo 11 mission and a reminder of the achievements of the U.S. space program. The reverse side also bears the words, United States of America, and E pluribus unum, which means, out of many, one, in Latin. It's a beautiful design, and it's easy to see why the coin has such historical significance. However, even though the 1971 Eisenhower Dollar had such a deep connection to important historical moments, it wasn't as popular as the U.S. Mint had hoped. The goal behind the coin was to bring back the dollar coin, which had fallen out of favor after the introduction of paper dollars. But when people were handed these large, bulky coins, they didn't seem to want to carry them around. The coin wasn't a huge success with the public, and after only a few years of production, the U.S. Mint stopped minting the Eisenhower Dollar in 1978. Despite that, the coin continues to be remembered and sought after by collectors even today, especially because of its connection to U.S. history and the fact that some of the coins contain rare and valuable errors. Speaking of rare and valuable errors, let's talk about what makes the 1971 Eisenhower Dollar so interesting to collectors. Like many other coins, the 1971 Eisenhower Dollar has some design flaws, errors, to be exact, that make it worth a lot more than its original face value. You see, sometimes during the minting process, something can go wrong with the machines or the dies used to strike the designs onto the coins. These mistakes create error coins, which are highly sought after by collectors, especially when they're rare or difficult to find. A lot of people have made their fortunes by discovering coins with these kinds of errors, so it's always worth checking your coins carefully. One of the most famous errors in the 1971 Eisenhower Dollar series is known as the clashed die error. To understand what this means, you need to know a little bit about how coins are made. In the minting process, two dies are used to strike the design onto the coin. One die presses the image on the front, and the other die presses the image on the back. In a clashed die error, the two dies accidentally strike each other without a coin between them. This causes part of the design from the reverse side of the coin to appear faintly on the obverse side. So, if you have a 1971 Eisenhower Dollar with part of the eagle design or other reverse details on the front side, you've got a rare error coin on your hands. These coins are extremely valuable to collectors, and they can be worth thousands of dollars, up to $6,500 or more, depending on the condition. Another error to watch out for is the double die error. This happens when a coin is struck multiple times, and each time the die makes an impression, the design gets shifted or doubled slightly. This results in a blurry or doubled appearance of the letters and numbers on the coin. For example, the year 1971 might look like it has two sets of numbers stacked on top of each other, or the words, "In God We Trust," might appear doubled. While this kind of error might be harder to spot at first, it's definitely one to look out for, especially if you're hoping to find a coin with a higher value. Double die coins can also fetch a lot of money, depending on how rare they are and how well they've been preserved. There are also lamination errors that can happen during the minting process. This occurs when the layers of metal in the coin don't bond together properly, causing parts of the coin to peel or flake off. This might sound like a flaw, but for collectors, it can make the coin even more interesting and valuable. A 1971 Eisenhower dollar with a lamination error could have a rough or uneven surface, and it could be worth more to the right buyer who's interested in coins with unique characteristics. So, how much is a 1971 Eisenhower dollar worth? Well, the value really depends on the condition of the coin and whether it has any of these rare errors we just talked about. In general, a regular, non-error 1971 Eisenhower dollar is worth about $1, its face value. If the coin is in excellent condition and hasn't been used much, it might be worth a little more, like $3 to $10. However, the real excitement comes when you find a coin with an error or in perfect, uncirculated condition. Coins that are graded as mint state, meaning they are in nearly flawless condition, can be worth anywhere from $20 to $50, depending on the market. But when it comes to error coins, that's where the big money is. A 1971 Eisenhower dollar with a clash die error, for example, could be worth thousands of dollars if it's in great condition. Some of these error coins have sold for as much as $6,500 or even more, depending on how rare the mistake is and how well the coin has been preserved. That's a huge jump from the original dollar value. Similarly, a 1971 Eisenhower dollar with a double die error or a lamination error could also be worth a pretty penny, especially if it's in mint condition. If you're wondering how to spot these valuable coins, here's what to look for. First, check the condition of the coin. If it's heavily worn or scratched, it's probably not worth much more than face value. But if it looks shiny and brand new, it might be an uncirculated coin, which is more valuable. Next, inspect the design closely. Use a magnifying glass to look for any doubled letters or numbers. Also, check if there's any strange doubling of the design on the front of the coin. And don't forget to look for any faint impressions of the reverse design on the front. If you see that, you've likely found a clashed die error. If you think you found a valuable coin, the next step is to get it graded by a professional. Grading companies like PCGS or NGC are experts at evaluating the condition and authenticity of coins. Once the coin is graded, you'll have a better idea of its value and whether it's worth selling or keeping in your collection. So, should you go digging through your old coins to see if you have a rare 1971 Eisenhower dollar? Absolutely. You never know what you might find. While it's unlikely you'll find a coin worth thousands of dollars in your spare change, it's always fun to look, and who knows, you might just come across something special. And even if you don't find a high-value coin, learning about the history and design of coins like the 1971 Eisenhower dollar is a rewarding experience on its own. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin or if you have any questions about coin collecting. Happy hunting, and good luck on your coin collecting journey.